Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we get right to what matters from the information you share with us. Today, we're digging into a company you probably think you know pretty well, WH Smith PLC. But, well, you might be surprised. Their story has changed quite a bit.
It really has. We've got their 2024 annual report and accounts here. And, it's not just dry numbers. It really gives us a look at their strategy, their finances, how they operate, even things like sustainability and how they treat their employees. It's packed with detail.
Right. So our goal here is to pull out the key things you need to know, give you a shortcut, really, to understanding a company that's honestly way more global and dynamic than you might think. Okay, let's get into it. For so many of us, WH Smith just means, UK high streets, newspapers, maybe a book. But this report, it paints a totally different picture. They actually call themselves a leading global travel retailer for travel essentials. That's quite a statement, isn't it? It feels like they're saying we're someone else now.
Absolutely. And the report's pretty upfront about it. It calls the high street business smaller and makes it really clear the main game now is global travel. This isn't just tweaking things. It's a massive change in direction. Shows they can really shift focus to where the growth is.
And the size of this shift, it's kind of staggering. They operate in, more than 30 different countries and manage 1,791 stores globally. That's a long way from just the UK high street.
Oh, definitely. And if you look at the money side, it's crystal clear. Travel is just dominant. In 2024, travel revenue was 1,466 million high street, 452 million. And profit. Travel's headline trading profit hit 189 million. High Street brought in 32 million. That gap tells the whole story. It shows how they've successfully moved away from the high street challenges and into these, captive travel markets. It's quite the turnaround.
Okay, so how did this big move actually, pay off on the bottom line? Let's look at those 2024 numbers. Total group revenue was strong, 1.9 billion. Their headline profit, as before tax and some other items, was 166 million. That's up 16% from the year before. Impressive. And for investors listening, headline diluted earnings per share, 89.3p, up 11%, plus a dividend of 33.6p per share proposed. Solid figures. But what's really pushing them?
Yeah, good question. It really comes back to that travel division again. Total travel revenue climbed 11% or 12% if you adjust for currency changes. And what's driving that? Well, the report says it pretty simply. The number of passengers traveling through the locations in which we operate. They mention IATA data suggesting passenger numbers were set to beat pre-pandemic levels in 2024 and keep growing, especially in places like the U.S. And they see a direct link too. They say, where we have reliable data on passenger trends, we see a correlation between changes in passenger numbers and our revenue. So more travelers, more sales. It's pretty direct.
Right, so if it all hinges on passenger numbers, how do they make sure travelers actually shop with them? How do they stay relevant when people are just rushing for a flight?
Well, their big strategy is this one-stop shop idea. It's about having everything, food, health and beauty, tech accessories, books and magazines under one roof. The goal is convenience. Thinking about everything you might need last minute. Forgot your charger, need a snack, a drink, something to read. They want to be the easy answer for all of it. Makes it hard to walk out empty-handed.
That's smart. Sort of capturing all those impulse buys. And they're doing some clever things with it. Like I saw they opened a huge new store in Birmingham Airport, described as having a bespoke customer experience, broader range, even a pharmacy inside, a well pharmacy. Plus, this new food brand, Smith's Family Kitchen. Sounds like that's doing well. And even a cafe version opened in a hospital. Food's now, 15% of their UK travel income?
Exactly. And all of that, the wider range, the convenience, it pushes up what they call average transaction value, or ATV. Because the shopping experience is quick and easy, people just end up putting more items in their baskets. So each passenger spends a bit more, and that directly boosts the ATV. It's a clear cause and effect. Next time you grab that extra bottle of water at the airport, you're part of the strategy.
Right. Okay, but let's not completely forget the high street. They're still doing things there, right? Like those Toys R Us sections, they opened 30, said they were very positively received, planning more. That seems like a smart use of space, partnering up like that.
Yeah, it shows they're still finding ways to innovate, even in that smaller business, as they call it. But back to the global side. They opened over 100 new stores last year. Most were in North America and the rest of world category. North America is definitely the big focus, they call it, our most exciting growth opportunity. It's now their second biggest division for profit, just behind UK travel. They just won bids for 24 new stores in major U.S. airports, and they have about 60 more planned there. And remember InMotion, the tech retailer they bought in 2018.
Yeah, the electronic shops.
Right. Well, they've apparently doubled its profit and boosted margins by over 500 basis points. That's a full 5% since they bought it. It's now fully part of their airport business. And like at Dublin Airport, they've added a new WH Smith bookshop, revamped their main store, and put it in motion. They're really digging in.
That airport growth is huge.
Yeah.
But is it only airports for this travel focus?
Yeah.
Or are they taking that model elsewhere? And I guess, are those places different to run?
Good point. No, it's not just airports. They're definitely taking that one-stop shop format to other places with lots of foot traffic. Think hospitals, train stations. In the UK travel part, they opened 6 new hospital stores and 5 in rail stations last year. The key thing there, and where they seem pretty good, is changing what they sell, tailoring it. So a hospital store might have different snacks or more personal care items compared to an airport one, catering to staff and patients, not just travelers.
Okay, so the growth story is clear. But nowadays, companies get judged on more than just profit. What about sustainability? ESG. The report talks about that too, right? Not just buzzwords.
No, it seems pretty detailed, actually. They talk about a commitment to operating responsibly and their ESG duties, and they have specific environmental targets. Net zero across the whole value chain by 2050, aiming for that 1.5-degree pathway. They show progress, too. Scope 1 and 2 emissions are down. Overall energy use dropped 8% in 2024, mostly from UK stores. And they list actual actions, investing in better chillers, LED lights, boiler controls, using management systems to track energy. They also hit 100% certified or recycled sources for pulp, paper, and timber in their own brand stuff. And waste. This is quite something. Only 14 tons sent to landfill in 2024. Less than 1%.
14 tons. From how much before?
From 400 tons back in 2020. So yeah, a massive reduction. These aren't just nice to haves. They seem like real operational changes.
Okay, that covers the E in ESG. What about the social side? How are they doing with employees and communities?
Yeah, they detail quite a bit there, too. Seems like a focus on people. They run an annual employee survey, 78% participation, which is pretty high. They have staff networks, like one for gender. They talk about diversity goals. 50% women on the board, aiming for gender balance on shortlists for senior jobs. They even want as many mental health first aiders as physical ones. Community-wise, they say championing literacy remains at the heart of everything we do. They partner with the National Literacy Trust here in the UK and Miracle Flights in North America. And looking at their supply chain, they audit their own brand suppliers on human rights, mostly through site visits. They're also aiming for more suppliers to have worker committees by 2025. So it looks like they're actively tracking and managing that social impact.
Right, so you've got this big global expansion, focus on travel, ESG commitments. None of that happens smoothly without good oversight. How does the report talk about leadership, managing risks, and ultimately delivering for the people who own the shares?
Well, the board is described as overseeing a pretty thorough risk management system. It covers the big picture stuff, the economy, customer trends, but also things like geopolitical issues, protecting the brand, cyber threats. You know, the usual suspects for a big company. They seem to have committees and processes to constantly check and manage these risks. It sounds like a structured approach.
Okay, and the payoff for shareholders, how does that look, especially with all this investment going into new stores and everything?
Well, the strong financial results we talked about feed directly into that. They proposed that 33.6p dividend per share, and they also launched a £50 million share buyback program in September 2024. By November, they'd already bought back about £6 million worth of shares. The report flags this as showing their firm commitment to delivering long-term shareholder value. Returning cash is a key part of it.
There was one other financial detail that caught my eye, something about their pension scheme, a buyout resulting in an £87 million surplus coming back to the company. That sounds unusual.
It is quite a significant positive event, yes. Shows good management of that legacy liability. And speaking of management, the report also links pay to performance pretty clearly. For example, the CEO's pay rise, 7.5%, bringing it to £670,800, was explicitly tied to the company's continuing strong performance, specifically that consistent profit growth. So there's an alignment there.
So when you piece it all together, WH Smith is really quite a different beast than many of us probably thought. Moving from that familiar high street name to this, well, expanding global travel retail machine, they're really navigating some big shifts with a very clear plan.
Absolutely. I think what's fascinating is how they've managed to basically reinvent themselves, but still use that well-known brand. That phrase they use, forensic approach to retailing, it doesn't feel like just jargon. You see it in how they plan store layouts, what products they stock, where they choose to expand. It really is a case study in adaptation.
So what's the takeaway for you? Maybe next time you're in an airport or even a hospital and you see that WH Smith sign, you'll think about this whole global network behind it, the scale, the strategy, the sustainability efforts. It's all part of being for life's journeys, as they put it. And it really makes you think, what other companies that seem familiar, maybe even a bit traditional, are undergoing these huge, quiet transformations right under our noses? Something to ponder.